Hello, everyone. Welcome to the All Van All Day podcast. I'm your host, Tom Van, and on today's episode, we have my friend, Josh. How's it going, Josh?
How you doing, man?
Yeah, pretty good, dude. I'm here in New York City, specifically
Long Island.
Long Island. Yeah, so how you been, man? I haven't seen you since, well, you visited me in Boston last year, but like I haven't visited Long Island since like 2018.
2018, yeah.
I think October.
It was the end of 2018.
Yeah, is New York still the same?
It's exactly the same.
Nothing's
really
changed.
cold.
It's the Big Apple.
Yeah, everything's pretty much the same old stuff, man.
Yeah, you can come a little bit closer. Yeah,
Oh, it's good.
okay.
Hello.
So yeah, you're good. So this is your first time on a podcast, though,
Yeah,
right?
I'm very
Yeah.
nervous right now.
I know, dude. We had to like loosen up the nerves, just like
yeah,
get
it's
a
my
little
anxiety, but
get a little stretch going on
Yeah.
because we worked out because I know people that are watching on video, Josh is a big fitness guy because he's looking
Yes.
pretty huge
a little thick.
with 3 C's, right? Yeah, dude. But yeah, you're into fitness, right? And then where's some of your other hobbies?
I just got my first gaming PC set up, so I'm a huge nerd. I love gaming. I love Fortnite, Counter-Strike, Call of Duty, 2K, FIFA. So I'm a big gamer. Fitness is probably my number one as far as hobbies go.
Yeah, actually,
But,
speaking of
yeah.
FIFA, right? So how Josh and I met was when I was studying in New York City, 2017, I think, and
Yeah.
I think that's how I met you because you were also studying like in school,
Yeah.
right? And you lived in that dorm as well. Shout out to Brooklyn Heights. That area was very nice. Yeah,
Very nice, very bougie.
but we met at the gym, right?
Yeah.
Because you were wearing Alpha.
I was wearing Alpha Elite. He was wearing Everforward, and I'm a fan, like a huge fan of both of those brands and both of the YouTubers behind them. So I was in the gym and I've never seen anyone wearing Gymshark, Alpha Elite, Everforward ever in that gym. So I saw you. I was like,
Yeah.
I was training legs, I believe.
Yeah,
And I'm sweating my balls off, and I look over and I see Everforward. I'm like, no way.
Yep, and he came up to me. He's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, dude, like I know Everforward too," and I was like, "Oh shit, I know Alpha League." Like that's where, and we just connected that way, and we just like we vibed, and like I was like, "Oh, dude, like this guy's cool,"
Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah, he was definitely, besides my roommate, he was like one of the first friends I made in that dorm. So I'm very grateful for that
yeah.
experience.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Like we were talking about how like one decision or like one choice that you make like could dictate like the rest of the outcome. Like
Yeah.
like if I didn't even go to the gym that day, or if I didn't wear what I was wearing,
The Everforward, I
Yeah.
probably would not have come up to.
we never would have like
My
talked to each
awkward
other.
ass, I would not have come up to. Yeah, I saw the Everforward, and I was just like, yeah, that's awesome, man. Because I think I was wearing Alpha Elite at the time. That's
Yeah.
when I was a huge Christian Guzman fanboy, a huge Alpha Elite fanboy. So I was like, no way. And I always liked Max Tuning's content. So I was
Yeah.
like, yeah.
That's dope. And then
This man's
I
chill.
know over that course of time that we known each other, or we're like, in New York where we were playing FIFA matches at night.
Yeah,
Bro,
all the
we were
time.
getting clapped.
Yeah.
Oh my
we
God.
nerded out, man.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
But dude, that's awesome that you have your first PC build.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that must
Yeah,
have
just
taken,
built it. I've had it for like 2 weeks now.
Yeah. So Josh is a noob, like a very
Yeah.
noob, but like I'm glad he's on the PC side now.
I'm a
So-
noob to PC. I've been on console for probably like 10 years.
Yep.
But yeah.
But it feels good though.
It
right?
it's such a night and day
Yeah,
difference.
and you can't go back.
Literally never.
Yeah.
Like playing first person shooters and third persons, it's just like you control your players so much better and like your reaction time so much better. So
Yeah.
I would never go back.
And
to
you have like
console.
dual monitors too.
Yeah, the dual monitors
You
set
can't go
up.
back to one
Yeah,
screen.
never.
Yeah. Well, judging by my voice, guys, I know I sound pretty cackly, but like I'm trying to recover from a sickness. But or
Yeah.
I feel like I just got sick. But
Yeah.
You know,
He
traveling.
came from the warm weather to the shitty weather.
it's
so-
it's so cold
I'm not
over here.
surprised
I
you
literally
got
don't
sick.
miss it. So for the people that are wondering, oh, what's the weather like in the East Coast during the winter? Shit.
Yeah, absolute shit.
Absolute
well,
shit.
it's just so weird with with climate change and everything. Yesterday we went to visit in Manhattan and it was like 15 degrees and windy, and today it almost hit 50.
Beautiful.
And
Yeah,
sunny.
today was so
it's
nice.
like very unpredictable. So yeah,
It's
sometimes
it's
shit,
bipolar. I think the
very
weather-
bipolar. Like
yeah, it
yeah.
just has a mood swing of like, oh, let's be warm today, and then the next day, no, fuck it, let's just
yeah.
be cold.
That sounds like New York, man.
Oh
Yeah.
my god, dude! But no, yeah, I've had a fun time, like these past few days here in New York.
I'm glad. I'm
Yeah,
glad,
it's
brother.
good like seeing you again and just catching up with you and like life and all. And yeah, dude, you're still kicking it, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
That's dope, man. I know you've been traveling. Yeah.
Yes,
I
sir.
don't know if you want to like dive into
Of
the
course.
timeline, because I feel like the last time I saw you, you didn't go anywhere, right? Like it's just that we're talking about when I visited you.
The last time I saw you,
Did you go anywhere?
and I think I went to Japan after I saw you in Boston.
Yeah, I'm talking
Yeah.
about 2018 now. So
Oh,
like, yeah.
yes. Well, just in general, I'm not really too sure about like the specifics, but the main places that I visited
Yep.
was Argentina, Buenos Aires, Puerto Rico, and Japan. That's
Okay.
like the top
Those are
three
the top
I wanna
ones,
ta-
okay.
I'd want to talk about, since
Yeah.
that's 2018 to right now here in 2020. Those
Okay.
three places. And I also did my cross country road trip with my good friend Anthony, who got out of the military. So
Oh,
that's another
You
kind of
could-
big one.
You can talk about that too. Yeah. Okay.
that
yeah.
was pretty crazy too. Yeah, just as far as like international stuff, those were like the big three.
And then you know, I've already caught up with you. You know what my travels were, and then
Yeah.
the podcast notes. You know, like I've talked about plenty of my travels through the episodes, so
Yeah.
they don't need to hear my shit again. Yeah, dude, let's dive into it. You know, I feel like, you know, we'll have plenty of time to go through each you know, storyline. I love how I call it a storyline, but I don't know. There's gonna be some plots. There's gonna be some twists, some turns, some fucked up shit. Who knows, guys? So yeah, let's start with the. You just want to start with the easiest one, or not easiest one?
Well,
like
I guess I'll go in chronological order.
Yeah,
I
might
guess
as
that's
well.
probably the best way to do it.
Yeah, the timeline, because like from last time I saw you was in October 2018, and then from there, yeah.
Yeah. That was 20. So I met you before I went to Argentina, right?
Yeah. So
because that was in 2017.
because
that
you
I
were still
met
in
you.
school, right?
Yeah.
Wasn't that for school?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I was studying abroad. So
Okay.
essentially, it was a 3-week study abroad program through the City University of New York. I went to City Tech, but they didn't really have a lot of study abroad programs, so I did it through City College, and it was one of the best experiences of my life. It was incredible.
How's the language barrier though?
So when I'm thinking of Japan, I think of probably the biggest possible language barrier that you can have, but Argentina was definitely a little lower than that, like a more moderate, I would say. So, you know, just in day-to-day life, you definitely have people that didn't speak a peep of English, but then you
Jeez.
had a lot of people that were bilingual or just would get the gist of what you're saying. So, yeah, Argentina wasn't too extreme as far as the
you stayed
language.
at a host family, right?
Yeah, so I had a host family. Well, I wouldn't call it a host family. I would call it a host mom, because it was pretty much just my mom.
Oh, okay.
But then there were students from she took on students from everywhere. So there was students from a different study abroad program that were living in the same house as me. So like we were kind of like a little family.
Oh, so
like,
you weren't by yourself? Yeah, you
Yeah.
had like other students.
Yeah, there
that
was
were also
two
studying.
other dudes that were from a different program. I've never met them in my life. I'm trying to think. I didn't really chill with them too much. I chilled with the people in my program, but they weren't even from New York. They were from
Okay, they
somewhere
were
else.
just somewhere else. Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, so it was just me, my homestay mom, and 2 other dudes doing study abroad program.
Okay. Yeah, that's intense, because I feel like you had to
Yeah.
acclimate to that environment, the people, the food. How's the food?
The food was incredible. It was a lot. I feel like Argentinians eat a lot of red meat. So
Oh God.
I was making some pretty good gains over there. Their steak is just like so authentic and just so flavorful. So I feel like that was like the number one like highlight food wise was steak.
Okay.
Steak and wine, red wine.
Any
Yeah.
Exotic things?
I'm trying to think. No, I didn't really try anything too crazy. You know me. I'm
Yeah.
kind of a bitch. I don't eat like seafood.
Yeah.
and stuff.
Josh is a big bitch when it comes to food. Like he won't try you have to force feed him like some new things.
Yeah,
It's like,
but this is true. But in Japan, I was a little bold, just
okay,
a little
okay.
bit.
We'll get
so,
to Japan
yeah.
later, but yeah.
But in Argentina, it was literally like steak and red wine like every night kind of thing.
Okay.
That's what they're
and
big
then you
on
were able
there.
to still lift over there?
Yeah, so that wasn't too bad of a lifting situation. I would walk. It was about a mile, or maybe even less than a mile. I had this gym that was very expensive. it was kind of, it felt like an LA Fitness in the middle of Buenos Aires, Argentina.
okay.
So it was like big. Couldn't complain. It had like several different floors and everything. It had everything I need. That was my first time lifting with kgs, so it was like kind of weird getting acclimated to that, but it was cool, man.
Okay.
Yeah, so the funny thing about Argentina is that I got the flu right before I went. So I was literally on the plane during New Year's with the flu.
Jesus, dude.
Dying with like a 103 fever going to Argentina.
How many hours is that flight?
That was, I think, 10 to 12, somewhere around there.
Dying on a plane for 10 to 12 hours?
Yeah.
I'm good.
Yeah, that was rough, man. I had my mask on and everything.
Yeah.
Everyone wanted to stay away from me.
Yeah, you just had to recover when you got there.
Yeah.
And then...
So that was pretty crazy because basically what happened, I was like midway through the course of the flu when I was going there. And when I got there, literally, so this was in January, which obviously in New York, that's winter. And in Argentina, that's summertime, like primetime summer. So I literally touched down in Buenos Aires and the warm weather practically healed me.
Oh,
like,
that's perfect.
Yeah, you could think it's bullshit, but it literally did. Because I felt the warm weather, the humidity, the sun. I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. So I literally probably, if I was stayed here, I would have ran a course of like a 2-week flu, but it wound up being like less than a week.
That's not bad.
I had it. So yeah, I was feeling good. I got there, man. The first night with the flu, I'm walking around like one of the kids that was living with me in the homestay showed me all around. I was so excited. So I wound up, feeling almost 100% in a few days.
It's like the sun just injected you with some steroids and you just came back to life.
Literally, man. It was a really crazy thing to happen because I just had the flu this year and it was the opposite. I had it for like 2 weeks. I was dead.
Dude, that's so rough. I can't imagine that.
Yeah. So what I was trying to tie into is that basically I went into Argentina not lifting for like over a week and under eating and throwing up and stuff from the flu. So I lost so much weight when I was in Argentina. Like, me, like I have a fast metabolism. I lose weight easily if I'm not keeping up with my lifting and my eating and everything. I'm just like a typical ectomorph, as people say. So I was very skinny at the time, but that's why I was like, all right, this gym's expensive. It's far away, but I'm going to go. So I wound up going like, I would say like 3 to 4 days a week.
Yep.
Just
trying to live there.
Yeah, it worked out well. It's literally in LA plopped in Buenos Aires. So
Okay.
it had everything I needed. Deadlift platforms, like all different machines. So it worked out well.
Nice.
As
That
far
worked.
as
Yeah.
fitness.
Perfect. Yeah.
in
And then how is
Argentina.
I want to say social life? Yeah. How is that? So again, you have your classes, right? But then
Yeah.
you have to like obviously socialize outside of that. Yeah. So
Yeah.
how's interacting
I
with...
got absolutely blessed in many different aspects with Argentina. The main one being my class was absolute BS.
Okay.
Like it was a 3-week course. I think it was like a 3-credit class that I was able to fit in with my actual like home university credits that I needed and course requirements and everything. And it was just basically a history and cultural class of Argentina. And the professor was really chill. And it was a really interesting class, but the most important thing is that we didn't do shit in the class.
Hey, that's great.
I was going in there thinking like, oh my God, I'm gonna have to balance like my studying and like my social life and experiences. But in reality, we never had homework. We never had assignments or anything. Like we just would go into class, have debates and talk. And then all we had to do, our final exam was literally just one presentation at the end we got to do with the partner.
That's so easy.
It was
God
so
damn,
easy,
bro.
Like, and it's funny because there was multiple courses that were offered, and these other kids that took like this history of art or something class, they were like, dude, it sucked. The professor sucked. And they're like, yeah, we had so much work and everything. We had to write all these papers, but with us, we literally didn't do anything. So
Just did jack shit.
Literally, it was a really interesting course, but like, it was the type of thing where we were able to go out and the night before when we had class and wake up early and be fine because we just sit there and do nothing in class.
Wow,
So,
that
like,
sounds like a great time.
yeah, no, I got blessed with that. So that was I'm grateful for that.
That's awesome.
So
yeah.
I was able to really balance the social life and class and everything, and
That's
it was
good.
an easy
Yeah.
A.
And
That's the simplest
would you
way
say
to
like
put it.
what's your best advice for people that are studying abroad? Whether it be in South America or any other different countries.
So studying abroad is such a great thing, but it could be a little intimidating for people, especially people that haven't traveled outside of the country and stuff. But I was gonna loop into this as well.
Yep.
I made some amazing friends through the program. Kids that I never met prior because, like I said, I went to City Tech, but everybody else went to City College. So they all knew each other, but I didn't know any of them. But they had open arms, and they took me into their little squad, and they were so chill, and it just made me feel, because I'm a pretty anxious person for the most part, especially with trying new things, getting outside of my comfort zone. But they just made me feel so at home having them. So instead of, going on an adventure by yourself, you feel all intimidated and anxious. But when you have people around you, good people that are welcoming, it helps so much. Yeah. So if you're going to study abroad, just be friendly, even if you're not the most social person.
Be open to new experiences.
To new experiences, new friends and everything. Because if you're, a little anxious about a new experience, if you have other people with you, it's going to make you feel so much more comfortable. I wound up like having no anxiety the whole trip. It was like the best experience of my life, and I still talk to some of the people to this day from the trip. And that was that was around the new year of 2018, so that was a long time ago, like 2 years ago.
2 years ago, yeah.
And I'm not gonna sit here in front, like I don't talk to them super frequently, but I met some really good guys that like I have their back and shit. Like they're just like really good people that I met over there. Yeah. And that's my number one advice, is to just reach out to people, be sociable, because they always do like kind of like a pre-trip like meeting and prepare you for what you need, this, that, and the third. So at that meeting, like just talk to people, network a little bit and just be like, hey, like I'm interested in this, I'm interested in that, like, and just get people's numbers and like try to, just make friends while you're doing it, so you're not in it alone. That's like the simplest way to put it.
Great advice from Josh. Studying abroad. So, I kind of want to, for each travel thing you talk about, like I want you to tell me like one, I wouldn't say most outlandish story, but like one story that stuck out. That stuck out to you the most. Let's go with that. So like one story. Yeah. If you have multiple stories, go for it, but pick one that's like, it just stuck out to you the most. Yeah. And again, so this is very uncensored, unfiltered. If you guys don't want to hear this type of stuff, why are you even listening in the first place? But no, yeah. All right, let's get into it.
I feel bad. I was talking to Tom before this. I was like, dude, I don't know how vulgar I want to get on here.
We can go all the way in. My fans, they want all of it.
Yeah, so as far as females, some funny things happened in Argentina. Okay. Some funny things happened. So pretty much, wait, hold on. Can I go to the bathroom quick? Is that possible?
You want to go to the bathroom now?
I really need a pee.
Oh man, Josh's bladder is off the charts. Yeah, go right now. Go right now. I'll entertain them for a couple of. Hey, how about this? I'm gonna give them a disclaimer. Okay, so for everyone that's still listening, disclaimer: Josh will tell these stories of his trips. I say some of these stories, it doesn't pertain to just females in general, or like women in general. I think that's a better word, women. I wouldn't say Josh is going to say a lot of stuff about the interactions with women, but I think most of his funny stories involve his interactions with women. So again, disclaimer to everyone listening, it's about to get pretty raunchy and I would say vulgar type of thing. But again, I want this to be a real podcast, I guess, and just like, no bullshit type of thing. Like you just tell it how it is. And I want Josh to just give the whole experience from what he's experienced with his life, All right, he's back.
Sorry about that.
All right, here we go.
Okay. All right. So like I said, there was kind of some funny incidences in Argentina with females, and I think the one that stands out the most is this girl I met on Tinder.
Okay.
So that's my one thing.
So Tinder. This is from Tinder, so yeah.
It's so embarrassing to say, but like every time I'm traveling, I like to utilize like Tinder and Bumble because it's just like,
I think everyone does that.
Yeah, it's just like, I don't know. Because I'm a single guy. Yeah, you're not coming back. I'm looking for females. Like I'm not going to sit here and lie. Yeah. So, but yeah, it's kind of embarrassing.
Yeah, he's single. Ladies, like slide in, like.
All right, so this one girl I met on Tinder, and like we were talking about the language barrier, it's there. It's not Japan level, but there is a language barrier there. And basically, the thing is, when you were talking to girls on Tinder, you couldn't really get a feel how poorly their English was because you could just Google Translate everything. if you're talking through an app. I was doing it like when girls were speaking Spanish to me, I would copy and paste in a Google Translate, then I copy and paste English back into there and be speaking Spanish to these girls. But in reality, I had zero Spanish. So I was talking to this one girl, and her English didn't really seem that bad. You know, she was kind of like saying, we were kind of having conversations, whatever. And I was a little aggressive at the time. And it's funny because I'm going to get in trouble for this. My homestay mom was super strict. Like the dude who showed me around when I first got there, he told me, he was like, dude, you have to be careful. Like, don't come home too late drunk. She'll like report you. Don't bring anyone over. And I was like, holy shit. So I was playing with fire a little bit because you could literally get kicked out of the program. Like,
yeah, if you somehow,
if you do something bad enough. Yeah. If you're not abiding by the rules. But she didn't tell me, which is smart of her not to tell me, but she went away one weekend and I kind of figured it out. Like I got home from class one day and she wasn't there and I was like, and she wasn't there later, didn't come back the next morning. I was like, she has to be on a trip right now. So
that was the perfect time.
Timing to do some stupid shit. So I was talking to this girl and it was later at night. I don't know if it was a school night or not, but I was just by myself. I wasn't with the group or anything. And I'm swiping through, talking to this girl. Her English didn't seem too bad. So I'm like, this is great. She seemed attractive. I'm not going to lie. Like her Instagram pictures were a little like flaunty and stuff. And she was, she was showing. So I was like, all right, she's definitely like down to fuck. That's the simplest way to put it. Yeah. And I was talking to her and I was like, hey, like come over. I'll freaking Uber you. Like come over. I was being super aggressive and she said, okay. And she agreed and I had her come over. I went down and I grabbed her and I shit you not, from the second I got her to come into the apartment to when I sent her home in an Uber, we didn't communicate one single word to each other.
That's insane. That's insane.
Not one word.
Silence. It's just an entire time.
It was a mix of silence and a mix of attempting Spanish and attempting English and trying to get the other person to understand it.
Oh my God. I can't imagine that because you're just like, it's like you're talking to just, I wouldn't say a wall because, this person's talking back, but like it's just nothing's going through one ear, out the other ear type of thing.
It got a little frustrating, but I thought it was funny. I was like, I knew in my head, I'm like, this is going to be a really funny story. Yeah. Like I literally knew right off the bat, but yeah.
Yeah. But so sorry, Mom, for bringing her over though.
Yeah. Sorry about that. But, yeah.
If she ever listens to this.
No, but if she knew this, she'd be very mad. She got mad at me before.
Like, Josh?
Yeah, she got mad at me before, but we'll get into that later. So I had this girl over, whatever, and we started hooking up. Like we were talking, but we didn't understand each other. So I was like, you know what? Fuck it. Like I'm just gonna start hooking up with her. So we started hooking up, and things got frisky, and we started having sex. And I'm just gonna give you a little disclaimer. So basically, or a little more information as to why this happened, what I'm about to tell you. My room was, I don't even know how to describe it. It was a box, an absolute box. It was the homestay mom's son from back in the day, his childhood room. Very, very tiny. And in Argentina, it's very rare to have air conditioning. So my room was always hot, always humid, whether the window was open or not. It was always freaking hot.
Yeah.
And I had the window closed and it was really, really hot that night. And I'm having sex with this girl. It was okay. I wasn't like super attracted to her. She was kind of a catfish, to be honest. Like she looked really good on Instagram, and then in person I was like, oh fuck.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was hooking up with her, and then we switched positions and I was banging her doggy style, and out of nowhere I start getting like really nauseous, and I smell the strongest, most disturbing scent I've ever smelled in my entire life. My room literally smelled like a fish market. And think about how hot and humid it was in my room. So it was strong and potent.
I was going to say, that probably just like hit you like a truck if it's like hot, humid, and then you get the fish smell.
Yeah, it was very potent. And it got to the point where I was getting nauseous. I was getting soft. I was like, I am not even attracted to this girl. What the hell am I doing? This is ridiculous. Like, my life was flashing before my eyes.
Oh my god.
And I'm like, you know what? Like, I paid for this girl's Uber to come over. I'm spending my night that I could be out with the boys or whatever. I'm spending it with this girl, so I'm gonna try to enjoy it. So I was literally hitting it from the back like this. I was stroking her with my nose pinched, my eyes closed. I was like this. And I was trying to tough it out, and it got to the point I was like, all right, I'm never going to finish. And I just pulled out, and then I just lay next to her acting like, oh, I was so tired, or oh my it was so good, or whatever.
Wait, but could she smell the thing too, or no?
I don't know. Like, I never told her like about it or whatever. But
actually,
like,
how would you even communicate that? You'd be like, fish. Wait,
fish.
What's fish in Spanish? It's
I don't even know.
Shit, isn't it pescar?
It's something with a
No,
P. I know. Yeah.
Oh, damn. But well, I don't know for all my Spanish.
Yeah. But yeah, it was very disgusting and fucked up. And basically, then we were just laying up or whatever, just sitting there in silence because we didn't know how to talk to each other.
Yeah.
And it just got to the point where I was literally pulling out my phone and like Google translating to communicate. And like I told her, I was like, hey, like I'll Uber you home or whatever type of thing. And she was like, okay, thank you. She was like grateful for it or whatever. And I Ubered her home, and that wound up being the last time I ever heard from or spoke to or seen this girl in my entire life. Ooh. And yeah, that was pretty much
the fish story.
Yeah,
I would say
the fish story, the fish market. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. Oh I feel like such a douchebag.
No, because I feel like for everyone listening, I think that's understandable because you can't, you personally couldn't control the scent, you couldn't control the weather that night.
Yeah,
like, you can't. Hey, if it's so strong that it's just. You're going to feel sick. What can you do?
Yeah, it was just everybody had. I feel like every person on this planet that's had sex has a bad sex story,
Yeah,
like
of course.
has some sort of traumatizing sex story. And that was one of them for me.
From this,
It made me, and I was wearing protection at the time. And that was like, that made me feel like, all right, I always need to wear protection. Like, this world is not safe. And especially being down there, I was like, all right, I'm always going to freaking wear protection. Damn, so yeah, okay, so that was like the primary female story.
Okay, so that was Argentina. All right, cool. We got,
and also just how I was saying how my homestay mom has gotten mad at me before. This is probably gonna get me in trouble too. But like, so I liked one of the girls in my program, and this one night my homestay mom was there. She wasn't on vacation like with the other girls. She was there. And I'm talking to this girl, flirting, whatever. I'm like, hey, like, you should come over to my homestay. She's like, wait, really? She's like, are you sure about that? And this girl had like an Airbnb or like a hostel or something. But I was like, yeah, like, just come over. And she was like, okay. And she wound up taking a taxi or an Uber over. She came to me, and I opened the door very quietly. It was like later at night, so I think my homestay mom was sleeping. And I brought this girl in my room, and immediately, so this is what happened. We were in my room, and then this girl was like, hey, where's the bathroom? And I showed her the bathroom, and right when she went in the bathroom, I go back in my room. I hear a mad aggressive banging on the door, and I open the door. I'm like, who is this? And I open, and the mom, literally bloodshot eyes, mad as fuck. Like, her face was red. She's like, who is here? I'm like, oh, it's just a friend. She's like, you are not allowed to have guests over ever. And she like went off on me. She's like, you have to tell them to leave right now. And she was bugging out. I'm like, listen, I'm so sorry. You never told me this. I didn't know. Blah, blah, blah. And she was like, okay, you have to tell them to leave right now. And I was texting the girl while she was in the bathroom. She was like, what's going on right now? I'm like, I'm getting in trouble. So she was sitting in the bathroom freaking out. My homestay mom goes in. I take the girl. I literally am like, yo, I gotta go. And I throw her out. And I'm really surprised she didn't report me, because one of the other guys that was living there, he was like, yeah, she's notorious for reporting people to like the program directors and stuff, but she didn't report me. So she actually liked me, but like,
or it could be like, again, you just said, oh, you didn't know, so she's like,
yeah,
okay,
that's what I said.
I'll
to
let
her.
Josh off on this, warning.
Yeah, and, she was so. I thought she was gonna beat my ass. She was like, she was so mad about that.
She gets the, what's it called, one of those like food thing, like the sticks thing, and you just like
a spatula.
Yeah, like spanking the shit out of you.
Yeah, that's what I felt like she was gonna do, but it was so awkward after that. But she was a nice woman. She just like she went off. That triggered the hell out of her.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's pretty much
Damn, and that was
Argentina.
Argentina. Wait, how long were you there for?
So Argentina was an intersession program, which is obviously for those of you that go to school, you know, you have the fall and spring semesters, then you have the break in between. And during that time period in, you know, late December and through January, you could take winter courses or whatever. So that was kind of like my intersession winter course type of thing. And so I was there for about 3.5 weeks.
Damn.
So I flew there New Year's Eve. So I was on the freaking plane on New Year's Eve when the ball dropped, which was kind of crazy with the flu.
Yeah.
And I touched down on January 1st. And then I was there for about like 25 days, I would say. So then I came back like a few days before the spring semester at my home university started. So
that's
there was
nuts, dude.
no breaks between
It's just
school.
literally like you finish your classes and then you go right into, okay, let's do some shit.
Yeah.
And then go into,
Dude, and it's weird too because like going from being in the prime time of summer in this beautiful, you know, South American like city, and then you come back to the shit of winter in New York City where it's like there's slush and like brown snow everywhere and it's like 10 degrees and freezing. It's like, oh, it's like so depressing.
Yeah, that sounds very depressing.
Yeah, it's like a post-trip depression type of thing. And then I had to go right back into school, taking all my freaking chemistry and math classes. So it was it sucked.
Yeah,
transitioning back. But yeah, that happened to be the best few weeks of my life.
Yeah, I was gonna say that definitely changes you, and then that's why I tell everybody that travels. Like after you travel and come back, like you learned a new thing and experienced a new thing, and,
or you met somebody that you know you never would have met before, and
you take those like lessons with you, or like, you know, take those experiences.
100%, man.
Into the future,
I'm definitely grateful for that experience. That kind of like sparked my traveling bug, Argentina, because that was at the beginning. That was, you know, late 2017, early 2018. So that sparked pretty much everything else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And speaking of everything else, what is the next destination from that?
Okay, so after that, I went to Puerto Rico late spring, early summer. Well, I left late spring, but then I was there all summer pretty much. It was like a 2.5, 3-month program. So it was like a research for undergraduates program. So that's why I was there. I was doing chemical research at the University of Puerto Rico. So right after I finished that trip in Argentina, I had my spring semester. Boom, right to Puerto Rico.
Right into Puerto Rico.
Yeah,
Damn, okay.
that was a crazy year for me, 2018. So yeah, so then I went to Puerto Rico.
So is that like another? So that is like another study abroad, pretty much, right? It's just
essentially, it's not the good thing about what I was doing. It's research for undergraduates, REU. Instead of a study abroad program where you pay, I was getting paid to do research.
Okay.
Yeah, they were paying for my living. You know, they paid for the dorm and everything. They paid for my plane tickets and everything. And I got paid every day to be doing research. So it was like such an incredible experience. It was like kind of like work and just a resume builder.
Okay.
And being in Puerto Rico is fucking awesome.
So would you say Puerto Rico was like a similar experience to Argentina, as in like the people, the weather, right?
Yeah. So the weather was freaking beautiful. It was, you know, it's kind of had that tropical island type of vibe. So it was like the whole time really felt like a vacation. But the difference is between my experience in Argentina and Puerto Rico is that Argentina was so laid back academically and Puerto Rico is the polar opposite because it was very vigorous. I was doing like 40 to 50 hours in the lab doing graduate level research. Christ. And like we had, you know, a big poster presentation at the end. You know, we had to like keep up with all our research and, you know, working with other students and everything. And we had to be in the lab at a certain time every day. So it was kind of more limited in my freedom. So like Monday through Friday when I'm working my 9 to 5 in the lab, like you're shot after you have to work on your project. So like we were pretty much only going out like on weekends.
So you were adulting pretty much.
It was definitely adulting there. That was like my first taste of adulting. I would freaking wake up. You know me, I'm a sloth. I sleep in late. So I was waking up at 7:30, 8 a.m. I was like, oh my God, fuck my life. Like, I do not want to go in the lab.
In the lab, do some research.
Over and over again. So it was, you know, you earn the money there. Yeah. You definitely, you earn the money. But it was a great experience. Like during the time, I was always bitching and complaining to like my mom, my friends. I was like, dude, this sucks. Like, you know, I hate waking up at this time. And I didn't really, to be honest, like, chemistry, that was my degree and it was never really my passion. I just kind of did it because I'd be like, oh, you know, it's something that'll get me a job when I graduate. or whatever. So it's like, you know what, I'm just gonna do it. I know I can handle it. So, but it was never really my passion. So like I was telling everybody, I was like, oh, this sucks, blah blah blah. Like I'm enjoying myself with like my friends and like the time that we get to our freedom during the weekend. But as far as the research and the work, it kind of sucked. But I'm still looking back on it. It's crazy how time changes things. Because looking back, I wish I could go back. Yeah. But during the time, I was like, fuck. But now looking back, it's
wait,
like,
will you say go back and do what? Not go to do that program?
No, go back and freaking live it up, man. It was awesome.
Okay.
Just because, like, at the time, with all the hard work and everything, but, you know, as I've matured and everything and just time has progressed.
It made you appreciate it.
It makes you appreciate it. You know, you look back on things that during the time might suck, but then when things change in a different direction, you're kind of grateful for that experience. So that's kind of how it was. But yeah, that was also an incredible experience there. It was just a lot of work.
And then one story from that trip.
Again,
it doesn't have to be.
It's not a crazy like
interaction
sexual or anything. I'm trying to, you know what? I really can't think of anything like that's too crazy over there. But it was just kind of like living a movie, man. Like it was there. It's not like a specific story. I'm just gonna kind of give you like a brief like outline of everything we did. So basically, like there's this place called La Placida, and you know how we went out to Patchogue last night. How it's like a strip of bars. It's like that on steroids in Puerto Rico. They're big drinkers. They freaking party.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah, so it was pretty close to the dorm. So we get all the kids. It was like 10 of us in the RU program. We'd get like all of us together, and we'd Uber over there. And they basically like shut down like several streets. So there's no cars. The blocks are just flooded with people.
Oh, okay. So you could compare that to 6th Street for
in 6th Street on Austin. Yeah, I think it's even crazier than 6th Street. And I loved partying on 6th Street, but I think it was even crazier because the streets are just flooded with people. There's so many different bars and clubs and everything, and it was just like such a good time.
That's
and
sick.
We kind of got addicted to it, and we were like going there like every weekend and stuff. And yeah, that was awesome. And I'm trying to think of something. I don't really have like too crazy of a story from it because, like I said, I was working most of the time.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, but you know, you were enjoying yourself there,
the one thing that I'll never forget was when I went to Culebra, which is an island like off the mainland of Puerto Rico, and we had to take. It's crazy because we had to take a ferry over to like the other part of the island to Culebra, and basically, people are fucking crazy. We had to line up at like 11 p.m. the night before. So we were standing in line, like our whole group and all the professors and everything at like 11 p.m. and we waited and just stood there until like freaking like 7 a.m. the next day.
That's fucked. What?
It was like waiting for like a concert or something because they just get so packed. It's like a first come, first serve kind of thing. And it was crazy because we get on this ferry and everyone, we were all just really antsy to get there. We were all tired or whatever. And we're all just chilling. And I see like they had bags and they were passing these bags out to people. I'm like, why? Like, this isn't even bad. Like, there's no, you know, I'm not really getting seasick. Like, it's fine right now. And out of nowhere, like halfway through, it was like a quick ferry ride. I think like 30, 45 minutes. Like halfway through, it got really, really rough.
Oh,
like,
no.
We were going really vertical, like up and down and stuff.
I get
and like,
sick.
Yeah. And I'm sitting there. I'm like, yo, I think I'm going to throw up. And I'm like, I get out of my chair. I'm like practically falling like back and forth. Like in the movies, like it's dramatic. Like you're like going back and forth and everything. And I go over to the guy that's like the security guard that's like passing out bags. I grab one. I run out to the side where you're like hanging over and there's like the barrier, like the guardrail. And I'm hanging over there, like sticking my head over like about to vomit. And that was the most seasick I've ever been in my life. I don't really get seasick like that, but it was just crazy. And it was like almost like fucked up that they let us out there because it was so rough at the waters.
Yeah, I was going to say, you would get fucked up out there. You know?
I was like, it was easy for you to get thrown over the side. I was literally hanging on and we were going up and down so much. I'm about to throw up. I'm afraid that I'm going to get thrown off into the water and die. So I'm like literally sitting there. It was horrible.
Near-death experience.
Yeah, that was freaking horrible. But I think I puked a few times. It wasn't anything crazy, but I definitely felt better. And I was literally just hanging over my head, my eyes closed. And they didn't even know where I went. Like the rest of the group, they were all just chilling there, all sleeping. And I'm literally sitting there dying. on no
God.
sleep or anything like that. So then we wound up getting to Calabria, and of course we didn't go to sleep or anything. We rented a golf cart, me and the boys, and we were literally just cruising around this island on this golf cart.
Bro,
It was so badass.
I would send it. That's so badass.
Yeah, it was so badass, man. We were going to these beaches. They were like clear water, white sand, like the most tropical, beautiful freaking thing. And it's such a small island that the golf cart was perfect. You could either rent a golf cart or a Jeep, and we had a golf cart, and it was just like the coolest thing. We were literally just going to every single beach there and,
Dude, I would
stuff.
just be sending donuts all the time.
Yeah, it was it was crazy, dude. We were just cruising around like not a care in the world. Like that was like definitely the most vacation vibe I've ever gotten out of like the whole Puerto Rico experience. It was just it was so chill being over there.
That's insane.
Yeah. That was probably the highlight, going to Culebra.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
That's dope. So that was Puerto Rico. Okay. Dude, that's a journey. That year must have been a journey.
That
man.
was crazy. So I had Argentina and then my spring semester, then Puerto Rico all summer, then my fall semester, and then I graduated that year. So like that 2018 was crazy, man. Yeah.
Okay. And now we fast forward to 2019.
That's when I had the cross country road trip.
Okay, when was that?
Yeah.
That was the beginning of the year.
It was relatively in the beginning of the year. It was March, pretty much the whole month of March.
Okay.
Me and my good friend Ant, he was right out of high school. He went to the Navy, and he was active duty and everything. He went to Bahrain and everything, and he was stationed in San Diego. You know, the kid was all over, and he was really eager to get out after he did his 5 years, I think. So he was getting out. He was like, dude, I have this crazy idea. Like, I'm getting a truck, and we should just freaking send it and just go to every city and just drive back, like, to Long Island, and that's like my welcome home type of thing. I'm like, dude, you're crazy. I was like, bro, no way.
But I'm in.
Yeah. I was like, dude, I don't know when I'm gonna do this. Like, he asked me like a long time ago. We had this plan for a while, and I was like, you know what? Like, because what I was thinking in my head, I'm like, okay, I'm graduating in December 2018. Like, I want to freaking, I want to do the typical what you're supposed to do type of thing, how you're supposed to graduate from high school, go to college, get a job, pay bills type of thing. So I was like, all right, I'm graduating. I don't know if I could do this trip because I want to just work off the bat, get a job like as a lab tech or whatever and just start working. And then I talked to my mom and everything. She's so supportive of me traveling. And she was like, you know what? Like, this is a once in a lifetime thing. You could see the entire country in a month. Like, you should just do this. I was like, all right, like, fuck it. I'll send it. So basically what I did, I graduated December 2018, moved back home. And I was just working part-time for my boy's meal prep company and everything. And we booked the trip, man. I booked my flight, not even expensive, to my starting destination, which was in San Diego.
Yep.
And I flew out to him before my birthday, like early March. And we just pretty much drove across the country for a month.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it was crazy, man.
That's so crazy. So do you want to highlight just the cities that you went to? So you started in San Diego.
So we started in San Diego, went down to LA. Then from there, we went to Phoenix. This kid, man, so well connected. Family, friends from the military everywhere.
Wow.
So yeah, I'm sorry if I mess up the order, but basically it was San Diego, LA. Then we went to Phoenix. His aunt and uncle were over there. Then from there, I think we went to Vegas. Yeah, Vegas we had to have went to after because it's super close. And then we went to Colorado, and we visited his friend that was in the military in Colorado Springs. Then we visited my cousin in Boulder. And so we went to 2 different places in Colorado. Then we had a very long stretch from Colorado all the way to Texas.
Oh, so you went down, yeah.
Yeah, we went down because you got to think like most of what we wanted to do besides West Coast type of thing in LA was pretty much down south.
Yeah.
That's like the bulk of our trip was down south. So we had a long like 12-hour drive from freaking Boulder all the way down to, I think we started at Austin. It was, and keep in mind, through Texas, I managed to get pulled over twice in one day, probably in like a 5-hour time frame.
Yeah.
It's so crazy in Texas because you'll be on a highway with absolutely bumblefuck, nothing around you.
Very true.
And then out of nowhere, a small town will pop up and it'll go from like an 80 or no, I'm exaggerating, like a 70 mile an hour speed limit to like a 25. So like I'm cruising and then I go through a little town and I'm doing tripled the speed limit, and like I got gunned, and I wound up getting a very expensive ticket in like
Jeez.
North Texas, like bumblefuck. And yeah, so that happened, and that was like, this is so bad to say. That was pretty fucked up because like we had open alcohol in the car because we
God.
had like this giant handle of Tito's or whatever
Yeah.
in the car, and we also had weed from I think either Cali or Colorado we were stashing, so we had shit on us. But I'm grateful for my boy. He gave like his military ID and everything, and like the cops were really cool, even though they gave me a ticket. But yeah, they didn't search us or anything, and that wound up working out pretty well.
Wait,
Yeah.
so they saw that or they didn't see that?
No, they didn't
Oh my
see
God,
that. We
if
would
they
have
saw
been
that,
fucked.
you've been
You know how
fucked.
Texas
Yeah, I was
is
gonna say, you've been
with weed and everything. Oh my God,
Good
we would have been
God.
fucked.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Okay. So that's you made it to Austin and then
yeah, so, well, not yet. So basically, after we got pulled over by them, we're driving. We're like an hour out from Austin. We're so excited after a long-ass day of driving, get pulled over again. Same situation. I'm going literally the speed limit, which is like 65, 70, something crazy because it's a highway in the middle of nowhere. Then I go through a small town, it's 20. So I got gunned again.
fucking cucked
And-
by the speed limit.
Yeah, and I was so polite to the officer. I was like, "Officer, I'm so sorry. Like, I didn't see this, like the speed limit change. Like, we're not from here or whatever." And he was mad cool. And again, we had shit in the car, and I'm having a mini panic attack sitting there, and my angel's looking over me. We were good again, and this guy didn't give me a ticket, so I wound up out of the 2 times I got pulled over, just got 1 ticket.
One ticket, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. But then we got to Austin, and that was freaking wild. We partied on 6th Street, and it was like a Sunday or a Monday when we partied on 6th Street, and it still was really
Dude,
lit.
people popping on
every
the street.
freaking night.
Yeah.
Like, and it's funny too because when we got to Austin the night of, we were just like, oh, let's just check out 6th Street. We're not gonna go out because we just drove freaking 12 hours. We got to the Airbnb. We're like, all right, let's just go there, maybe eat and just check it out. We didn't even know this was the tail end of South by Southwest. So we pull up to 6th Street. It was like fucking Armageddon over there.
Jeez.
There was garbage all over the streets. There was loud ass like heavy metal being played one direction, rap the other direction, like all this live music everywhere. We're like walking around like in shell shock. We're like, what the fuck is going on? And we're like, oh, it's South by Southwest. This makes sense. But yeah, there was just the streets were flooded. There were cop cars everywhere. We're like, yo, this shit is crazy. And we're sober sitting there like after we get back, after that long drive. So that was just like a really crazy.
And then you met the infamous snake guy, right?
Who?
On 6th Street?
I didn't.
The guy with
No,
the snake? Oh,
no.
You guys didn't see him?
I don't know. I remember you mentioned that the other day.
Yeah,
I don't know
I feel
who the snake guy is.
He's like, he just walks around 6th Street with a snake. Like,
That's mad
He's
funny.
chilling. Yeah, old guy. Yeah, he's just chilling. Shout out to him.
The snake guy.
Yeah, I forget his name, but
Yeah. But yeah, so Austin was just freaking incredible.
yep.
And I really don't want to like get too crazy with the stories or whatever, but we wound up the second night we went out, we met up with one of his boys. I think he met him through the military or whatever. We went out with him and we wound up meeting these chicks and having just a great night. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, it's great.
I
Yeah.
think they went to some university over there, but yeah, it's crazy because like I didn't like, I had some success with females on the trip, like as far as just, talking to them and like hooking up and everything. But as far as like going all the way, like I did that very little, but it happened in Austin and it was amazing. So
Yeah.
it was just like so memorable. Like we met like these really cool girls and we wound up having like a fucking crazy night.
That's dope. That's
Yeah.
dope. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was really cool. And after that, we visited more of his friends in the military. I think in Mississippi or something like super random. We chilled there for a little bit, and then the really crazy part of the trip, we went to Florida,
Ooh.
and we went to Miami and Tampa, and that was so much fun over there. Because our good friend Billy, it's my boy Anthony's cousin, he lives in Tampa and he went to the University of Tampa, so we went there, we partied and everything, so that was a lot of fun. And pretty much after that we worked our way up. We met a friend from high school in Atlanta and we were chilling out there. It was fucking awesome. He lives in like a kind of a secluded area, so we were like, and he was a military guy as well, so we were like shooting shit like in his
Yeah, that's
backyard and
sick. That's
everything.
really
So it was
sick,
like
yeah.
so fun. Yeah, he had like AKs, like M16s, Glocks, and everything. So we were just that was my first time ever shooting a weapon. So like it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I was gonna
it
say
was exhilarating.
Yeah, like shooting a weapon for the first time. That must have been intense.
Yeah, it was really intense. So yeah, we did that, and we also went out in like the college area, like in Athens, Georgia, and that was just fucking crazy.
Roll Tide. No, not Roll Tide. Oh no, I'm about to get shit on. My bad. Why did I say
I don't
Roll
know.
Tide?
I don't know anything about.
Well,
like,
Athens,
yeah.
Georgia.
Yeah.
It's the Bulldogs.
Oh,
you know?
okay,
Yeah.
okay.
University of Georgia.
Yeah.
Whoops, my bad.
Awkward.
Super awkward. Sorry, Alabama.
Yeah, but that was just a freaking great experience. And then it got to the point where we were supposed to go to Nashville, Tennessee, but we were so drained. We're like 25, 30 days into the trip, and we're like, yo, let's go home.
Yeah.
And we literally just sent it back up home, and that wrapped that up. And that was one of the craziest months of my life.
Yeah, you went through so many cities, I feel like.
Yeah,
so.
No, it was really productive. And I always say when I'm talking about the trip to people, doing something like that, I was saying this to you, how you kind of did something similar where you went to a bunch of different places. You went to, Sacramento, LA, then Texas and whatever. Like, it's awesome getting that volume in and going to a bunch of areas and stuff, but it kind of sucks because you're just dabbling in each city. You're not getting like a strong feel for that city. So it's like, it makes you think like, damn, I kind of want to go back here. I liked it there. I kind of want to go back here. So it's like,
especially if you went there. I mean, if that was your first time going there.
Exactly. And that's how it was for 90% of the places I went to. So it was kind of like a good analogy. It's kind of like a tease, because you're just going there we were going to places for like a day or less than a day because we were like, shit, we got to go. We're on the road.
Yeah, we're on the road. Geez.
So that's like the one downside of the trip, but it was kind of cool because I definitely plan on, moving out of Long Island at some point. So it kind of showed me like what places I like and what places I don't like, and I could see myself living. So, it definitely had a lot of benefits out of the trip rather than just fucking partying and hooking up with chicks.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's great, dude.
Yeah.
I need some water. Let me grab some water.
Okay.
You can still entertain. It's still rolling.
I'm out of water, but I'm not gonna cuck them. Go fill it up.
Because you were pretty.
I already cucked them with the bathroom.
Oh, yeah, you did.
Sorry.
All right, we're back. Sorry for that awkward silence. Jesus, dude. I thought you were gonna
awkward.
Yeah.
This is just how I am.
Jeez. All right. Okay, so that was the end of that trip. Yeah. And then you came to Boston during the summer to visit me. And then your last trip, I guess. Yeah. My
last trip was Japan. And I know I'm like such a repetitive cornball, but out of everything I've said every trip, this was really the best month of my life. Japan, like I've said this multiple times, but this was I think I would say the best, not one of the best month of my life going to Japan. Okay. And it's weird because I was telling you like with Argentina how I was so grateful to have met the people I met and had a group around me when I was traveling, but with Japan I was by myself. You soloed the trip, besides the second half when my boy Charlie met up with me. He met up with me halfway. I think he started in Osaka or Kyoto, and then we worked our way back to Tokyo, but for a good 50-60% of the trip I was alone. Yeah. And it wound up being the best trip. I don't know if I'm just like a selfish motherfucker. No, dude. Hey, I feel like, again, you could take advantage of every opportunity you get. And, for you, Josh asked me earlier in like that year to see if I could go. And I just like, oh, man, like it was such short notice. Like I couldn't it was able to go. But I would have definitely sent it to Japan because like, dude, it's an amazing trip. I want to do it. In 2021, I want to do it next year. Hell yeah. I definitely want to go back, so I might be taking you up on that. Yeah, Josh might be joining me for some Japan adventures, and we'll be on the road again. So, but I asked this man. He was like, I think Tom was like one of the first people I asked. Yep. I was this Asian motherfucker. I was like, he's definitely going to be down to go. Like, and he shot me down. I mean, he travels so often, he had work and everything, so like I definitely understood, traveling is not cheap, especially to a place like Japan where I was gonna say, altogether you're probably your tickets and your where you're staying, that probably just added up. So out of every bit of traveling, whether in the country, out of the country, Japan was the most expensive by far.
Yeah.
Keep in mind, I YOLO'd the hell out of it. Like, I was like, because I just finished like working all summer at a bar and everything, so I had all these cash tips and everything. I saved a lot of money, so I kind of YOLO'd it and said fuck it. I was like eating out like 4 times a day, buying like expensive ass like clothes and souvenirs. So it was my fault a little bit, but even just for someone trying to be on budget, I still think it's an expensive trip.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah.
Just because, Japan, I think a good way to put it, as I said, I don't know about a bunch of the other cities, but as far as Tokyo, it's very similar to Manhattan, which is a very expensive place to live.
I would call Tokyo like the Manhattan, or it's the like LA of
Manhattan, LA. That's a very good comparison. So it's not cheap. It's not a cheap trip, but some cities are cheaper than others. Like when I was like at Hiroshima and like Nara, which was kind of like secluded a little bit more, not as big cities as Tokyo. It's definitely a little cheaper, but still not a cheap trip.
Yeah.
At all. But yeah.
That's sick, dude. Like for me, for all my weebs out there, man, Japan just has so much like of, the manga and the anime and just like all that.
Yeah.
Well, obviously it's only like one area, but like, I would just like totally just geek out in that area.
It's easy to
that
geek out.
That would break
there.
my wallet. And then like for me, my other side would be like, Japan's just so like aesthetically like, just dude, have you seen pictures of the cherry blossoms?
Yeah,
just, like, the buildings
man.
and everything. It's just, dude, it's like amazing. It's breathtaking.
Yeah, literally every part of that country is just a freaking desktop background.
It is.
Like
It
you get a
literally
picture
is.
of that in 4K, man. You could hang it up on your wall. It's just
Yeah.
everything is so beautiful there, man. I mean, I can't really speak for like some of the areas like northern Japan and like random areas, but from where I was in the major cities, it just amazing, dude.
And you were telling me their transit system is just unreal.
It's the best. Living in the city for 2.5 years and using the subways and the Long Island Railroad and everything, Japan shits on all of that like badly.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
And you got to think, I'm a freaking white guy in Japan and I'm able to get around like it's nothing. Like I was using Google Maps and I was talking to some people that like worked on the railroads or at the train stations. I would talk to them. They barely know what I'm saying, and they were still able to tell me what to do. It was just everything was so simple, on time, fast.
Yeah. I heard like it's always on time.
Yeah.
Like, there's no delays or it's like not super late. Like it's just there.
Never. It was just such a pleasant experience traveling around. I traveled from Tokyo, all the way on the east side of the island of Japan, all the way out west to Hiroshima on the opposite end. I traveled that in like 4 hours on the bullet train.
That's
like
not
the
bad.
complete
That's so
opposite.
fast, dude.
So fast. And I'm literally sitting there and I have an outlet. I have Wi-Fi. I have nobody sitting next to me. I'm literally sitting there listening to music, watching YouTube videos.
Cruising.
It felt like I was in, a car. Like it was just like so like comfortable, like doing that. I freaking use like the Amtrak trains to go from like Long Island or New York City to Buffalo to like go to like a Bills game or whatever, and that was horrifying. Like 8 hours, bumpy ride.
God.
The Wi-Fi didn't work. The food sucked and everything like that. It was just like horrible.
Yeah.
So just being able to compare that, it's like night and day.
Damn. Yeah. Because they take their pride in everything. Like I feel like they want the best for their people and then the best for all the tourism that they get, which is a shit ton.
Yeah, it's like the #1 tourist destination in the world there. So
yeah, and the Summer Olympics are this year too. So they must be packed.
Yeah, I feel bad for people
that are trying to traveling,
the
like
tourists that are traveling at this time.
Dude, that's what they get.
Yeah, cool. I feel bad for them because even for me, like, I wouldn't say I saw like certain areas I saw a lot of tourists, but like I couldn't imagine going during that time.
That's
like it would just be so packed.
You can't move anything, or you can't like walk around and like without
Yeah, it's already Japan's already super overpopulated, and then you throw all these tourists there. It's like probably not like the most pleasant experience.
Yeah,
but yeah. Like when I was in Hiroshima, that's probably where I saw the most tourists because they had like the atomic bomb dome and like the memorials.
Yeah, makes sense.
And so there was a lot of tourists there, but nothing like out of hand. I was still able to enjoy myself.
That's good. Yeah, and then of course the food, it's just
incredible,
right? Yeah, it's so
I
authentic out there.
had some of the best meat in my entire life in Japan. Best meat, hands down.
Hands down. You heard it here first.
I 10 out of 10 recommend. And I kind of have a funny story. So I don't know if you've definitely heard of it. I don't know about whoever's watching. Kobe beef. Okay, It obviously originates out of Kobe, Japan, which I went to Kobe, and so this is what happened. I was like doing my research, going there. I'm all excited. My dad was like, "You have to try it," because he is a huge meat eater, and so I'm looking it up and everything, and I'm finding all these places. I'm like, "Shit, there's so many choices. I don't know what to do." So I found this one place with amazing reviews, and it's in the middle of the city of Kobe, and it was like 8 floors up or something. And I go up there, and it's a nice place. So it's like, it's kind of, it reminds me of like how hibachi is like here in New York, how like it's a nice place. You sit down, like they cook in front of you and everything. It was kind of like that. It wasn't anything that blew me away, and but it was nice. So I waited a little bit. I told him it was just for me, and I go and sit down, and I'm looking at the menu, and they basically had like 3 different options as far as Kobe goes, or Kobe beef. And they had like 3 different sizes in grams of meat, and I picked the biggest one. I'm like, hell yeah, I'm gonna send it. And I thought that this course said 2,000 yen, but in reality I thought it was 2,200 yen, which equates to approximately 22 US dollars, but it was actually 22,000 yen.
Oh no.
So my dumbass is sitting there. I'm like, this is great, man. And it's funny because they gave me like 3 different appetizers. I was getting treated like a king. They were giving me 3 different appetizers. They gave me like this amazingly beautiful dish, and he was cooking right in front of me, asking me like everything I wanted. Then after, they gave me coffee, ice cream, all this shit. I'm like, in my head, I'm like, I'm getting a lot for 2,200 yen right now. And my dumb ass is sitting there. I'm like, this is great. Like, I'm definitely coming back here before I leave. I get the bill, and I see 22,000 yen. I'm like, oh, fuck.
That's way more than I anticipated.
Yeah, like exponentially more. And I'm literally like, I'm sitting there cracking up. Like, there's nothing I could do. I was just like, I thought there was a mistake. I was about to get the waitress and be like, what the fuck? Like, but then in my head, I'm like, oh, that kind of makes sense. I guess it's like,
you got all that food for that price.
Yeah, you get the king-like treatment.
Yeah.
And it's funny too, like why I'm such an idiot. Behind me, there was like a group. It wasn't like super busy, but behind me there was a group of businessmen, and they were all in suits in a table, being loud as fuck, like laughing, enjoying themselves. And they were all wearing like suits and had their briefcases and stuff. So they were probably like wealthy ass dudes, and their bill was probably freaking like $5,000 US, So like it didn't click in my head.
With you like, I don't think I can afford this.
I do not belong here. But I got out and I called my dad. I was cracking up. He's like, nah. He's like, fuck it, man. Like, you're only there once. He's like, you're good. Yeah. You saved all your money. You're fine. I was like, yeah, I guess, but fuck. That was the most expensive meal I've ever had in my life.
But other than the price though, like, was the meat worth it? Like,
oh my God. Yeah. I didn't even get into that. Oh my God. Like
he just nutted.
I just nutted. Literally thinking about it makes me nut. But literally it is just, you can't describe it with words. The flavor, the texture is just so incredible, and how good this guy was at his job. It's just like, it literally, people don't know when they say this, but I do. It freaking melts in your mouth. The meat literally melts in your mouth, like so soft and so like juicy and tender, and like it just, I don't know. It's really hard to describe.
Yeah. I was gonna say you just have to taste it for yourself.
You literally have to taste it for yourself. I know it's a delicacy even there. So here it's like a massive delicacy.
Yeah.
So it's like really hard to get your hands on. But like, authentic Kobe beef. But it was hands down the best meat I've ever had in my life. And it's funny because like I got the biggest portion, and it was like this much meat.
Oh, so the size of a small bowl.
Yeah. I don't even know about that. I don't really know what to compare it to. It was just such a small quantity of meat. I walked out of there. I paid $250 for my meal, and I walked out of there hungry. That's like the problem with Kobe beef. It's such a delicacy. The portions are so small.
Are skewed, yeah.
But like I could still taste it in my mouth. That was like 6 months ago. I could still taste it in my mouth. Like it was just like so freaking delicious. And I wound up getting it a few other times, obviously at cheaper restaurants. And even at like cheaper restaurants where it was a fraction of the price, it was still, absolutely incredible. I could freaking eat Kobe beef every day for the rest of my life. and die happy.
Die happy. Yes.
Yeah.
Let me go to Kobe heaven.
Yeah, it was. I'm not exaggerating. Like
That's awesome.
one of the best dishes I've ever had.
I can't wait to eat like sushi with it, like authentic, like just Japanese food.
Yeah. Oh my. As far as I'm not a seafood guy, but seafood there is so fresh and so delicious, and it's affordable too. You can go to like one of the conveyor belts sushi places, so they literally just bring it by, and you're getting this delicious top of the line sushi for so cheap. So yeah, that's definitely something you got to try. I know you'll love that.
Yeah, dude. Oof.
Yeah,
can't wait for that. Okay, any other experiences besides the food? You visit all these cities.
Yeah, so I was telling you, I think last night, I was just really grateful. There's this app or website, I guess you would say. It's called Magical Trip. And essentially what you do, it's like a day trip. You could book it the night before. That's how, unless it's, you're doing it like in Tokyo or somewhere really, popular, busy or popular. But you could book it the night before, and it's basically you have a tour guide, a Japan native who takes you around, shows you stuff. There's different things you could do. They had like sumo wrestling ones and like, bar crawls and all this. And I did a bunch of them, and I wound up meeting some of like the greatest people. Like that's how I met a lot of people. And also not only like Japanese natives, I met great people from that were there for the Rugby World Cup. Oh, okay. That were like in, Australia and Europe, Ireland and everything.
So people
like
from
all over. I made all these friends, and it was so sick. Like, because in like where we partied, like in Roppongi and in Shibuya, which are like districts of Tokyo, they freaking party there. So we had a really good time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You were telling me they go like all night.
Yeah. So yeah. With Japan, it's like very different than whoever's, watching in New York, that it's pretty much, it's set time frame. Everybody goes out around like 10, 11 o'clock. They wind up going home around 2. That's when most bars do last call is 2. But Japan, they don't get started until like 1 a.m. So it's like
wild.
Yeah. And they do like it's weird how that's the only flaw in the train system is that their last train is super early. It's like before midnight is like the last train. Okay. So like if you have to make it every night, it was like an impulsive decision. It's like, am I staying out and going hard all night and having to take an expensive ass Uber home, or am I gonna make it an early night and like catch the last train?
Yeah.
So it's like that's how it is every night. It's like so weird that they do that. I guess it's just for safety or whatever. Yeah. But yeah, so they party super late there.
Dude, I can't imagine just staying up so late. But I feel like if you're in that atmosphere, it makes sense. Like you'd be like, all right, I'm gonna party until 4 or 5 a.m.
Yeah.
Not every day, but like that
yeah, on weekends, 100%. Yeah, but I have several vulgar stories as far as
hey, we're about to reach
we're back.
I think we're about to reach an hour, or we are over an hour, who knows, but let's just cap it off with some good old stories.
Holy shit, this has been an hour.
Yeah, dude.
Well, damn, I talk a lot.
No, well, I feel like again, it's just your experiences with these travels, and I didn't want to stop you mid like story or like mid type of thing. I want you to fully explain it to our audience so they get to know you better as a person, and they get to know your experiences. And Josh, let's cap it off, dude.
All right. Yeah. So I'm trying to think right now of like the craziest one to go for, but it was kind of cool in Hiroshima. So this is like a crazy experience I had. Basically, one of my good friends she was like a tour guide in Tokyo that I met, she hooked me up with one of her friends that lives in Hiroshima, and chill ass dude. He works at a gym. He's like a personal trainer. He teaches English, he coaches, like he does all these freaking things.
Nice. Okay.
And I worked out with him and everything, and he was telling me when we were at the gym, he's like, yo, like one of the dude who's his boss who owns the gym that he works at, he was like, yo, this guy's a fucking sick fuck. Like, you want to go out tonight? He was like, but I think you should be prepared because we go out late and we go hard. I'm like, dude, yeah, like I'll send it. Like, I'm here once. Fuck it. And so I went out with them, and it was like the craziest freaking night. I ate so much food, and I got so fucked up. They were like shoving drinks down my throat.
Oh my God.
And it's kind of funny because they were with this girl who worked at one of the restaurants, and she was like this little cute Japanese girl, didn't speak a bleep of English. And I thought she was really, really cute, and I obviously wanted to hook up with her. And they were like trying to smooth talk her and get her to whatever. And she wound up like, my boy was telling me, he was like, yo, like she's gonna go home with you. She's definitely gonna go home with you. And I'm like, dude, this is lit. Like awesome.
Yeah.
Like she can come back to like my capsule like hotel or whatever. And out of nowhere, she just hops on her bike and dips. I'm like, no, wait.
Where are you going?
I'm like, no. And I asked my boy, I'm like, yo, where the hell is she going? He's like, dude, I don't know. She just freaked out, hopped on her bike and left. I'm like, all right. So there goes my night. And me being a douche, I already Snapchat on my boy. I'm like, yo, I'm getting laid tonight. I was all excited and stuff.
I think I got one of them.
Yeah. And like, I was just so upset. And I'm in the back of this dude, the gym owner's truck or whatever. I'm like, dude, like, I just want to have sex right now. Like, they're like, dude, like, we could easily get you like a hooker or something, but it's kind of dangerous and it's expensive. Like, no, I don't want to do that. Like, what the hell? Like, get this girl's number. Like, I really want to like hook up with her or whatever. They're like, oh, no. And they're like, wait a minute, I have an idea. So they hit up this girl, and keep in mind, it's like 4 a.m. and I'm like about to vomit from how drunk I am. I don't know how I held it together. He hits up this girl, and they literally take a picture of me and send it to this girl.
Josh, post real quick.
And they were like, "Hey, like I have this sexy white American here, like he wants to hook up with you or whatever." And she was like, "Okay, like let me just get ready." She fucking crawls out of bed at like 4 in the morning, 4 in the morning, and like puts her makeup on and gets dressed. And we go like out of the major city to pick her up, and we drive all the way back out. So we're at this bar at like 5 a.m. And I'm talking to this girl like half sleeping on the couch.
Still awake.
And dude, it was mad weird. I was talking to her and like I was like straight up. I was like, listen, I don't have much time left. Like, do you want to hook up with me or no? And she was like saying, oh no, I'm not doing that, blah, blah, blah. And we're just sitting there talking, flirting, whatever. And we look over and the dude who drove us was gone. We're like, what the fuck? Where'd he go? And we were like getting so mad. We're like, yo, that's a ride. He just ditched us.
Yeah.
And I'm blowing up his Instagram because I just had his DMs, and I'm blowing him up. I'm like, dude, where'd you go? Like, what the fuck? And we go out to where he parked, and his car was gone.
Oh my god!
He dipped. So I'm stranded in the middle of Hiroshima with this random girl. And I'm like, listen, like I'm not trying to be an asshole, but like it's so late. I'm waking up and doing some like traveling tomorrow, so I gotta go. I'm about to Uber, and she's like, wait, like can I come with you? I'm like, what? Like, I thought you were literally just rejecting me in the bar. And she was like, no, like, I'll come. I'm like, all right, well, I have a capsule hotel, so like, I can't bring any guests. So like, do you want to get a love hotel? And for those of you who don't know, like love hotels is basically a thing where you walk in and there's like a screen and you could freaking book a room right on the spot.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And then it's like this all like fetishy, like they have like heart-shaped beds.
Yeah,
and,
I've
like,
seen that. Yeah.
like scents and like hot tubs and everything.
Yeah.
And yeah, so we went to one of those. I told her, I was like, listen, like if you really want to hook up, like that's fine, but like I'm only paying for this because they weren't cheap. They were like $100 to $200. I was like, listen, I'm only bringing you back if like you want to hook up. And she was like maybe. Well, she was like playing all hard to get. Yeah. And I wound up bringing her back and banging this girl, and this was at 5, 6 in the morning.
That's
and
wild.
I booked the room. You could book it for like a certain amount of time, so we had it for like 3 hours. So I banged her. And it was like 6 a.m. She falls asleep. I fell asleep. I set my alarm. I went to sleep for like an hour and a half. I wake up at like 8:30 right before we had to check out. And I'm literally like nauseous. I'm like bloodshot eyes. Like I feel terrible. I'm roaming the streets. I walked her. I forget what she did. I think she took like the bus or the train or something. And I wound up getting a taxi back to my capsule. And it was just, I was thinking about the night. I was like, yo, that was one of the craziest nights I've had on this trip. Like it was just so crazy. I banged this random girl.
After getting cucked by like another girl.
Yeah. After getting cucked and getting left stranded by my friend in the middle of the fucking city of Hiroshima. Like I had no idea where I was. I'm drunk as fuck.
It's a fucking movie.
Yeah, it was literally like a movie, like some Hangover type of like vibes I had. But yeah, so that was crazy. And then that was the last time obviously I don't even know the girl's name, which is so bad.
Oh my god,
I never do that.
Yeah.
I knew her. It was something Japanese, and like it's so hard to remember all these Japanese names get thrown at you. So like I don't even remember the girl's name, and I didn't have her Instagram or anything, so I wound up never talking to her again. So it was just like the biggest like one night stand you could have.
A very big one night stand.
Yeah.
That like started from like this concoction all the way to the end.
So yeah, then I wound up going back to the capsule, and I literally melted into my bed until like I slept so late.
Yeah.
I was supposed to wake up early and be all productive and travel
but
everywhere.
you needed to recover that day.
It was bad. I was like hungover like all day. It was horrible, but did it for the freaking story, man.
Did it for the story, and the podcast appreciates you. Oh man. All right. Well, wait, that was it, right? Yeah, that was one of them, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I could freaking go on all day and ramble
wait.
stories.
We'll save that for the next time Josh comes on. So, and hopefully, maybe Josh will have some more traveling when the next time he comes on. But yeah, Josh, where can they find you?
On
On
pretty
social
much
media.
anywhere on social media.
Yeah.
So I'm the most active on Instagram. So it's at Joshua DaCunha. Yeah, follow me on Instagram. I don't really use anything else. I have
Okay.
like Snapchat, Twitter, and all that. But yeah,
okay.
Instagram.
All right, cool. And you guys can find All Van All Day on Twitter and Instagram at All Van All Day. And yeah, you guys can also find us on Spotify, iTunes, Stitcher. Give us that 5-star rating for Josh's stories, because they were, man, this podcast was wild. Like, it went from like pretty, tame in the beginning, and then we just dove right into like, all right, let's get some.
Dude, I feel like such an asshole with all these vulgar stories. Like,
hey,
all your female followers are gonna hate me, but like, dude,
maybe
I'm single.
They could, but they might not.
I'm single, man. So I was just, I was
that's
living
what I'm
my
saying.
best life.
It's
doing
your
some
life
stupid
experience.
shit.
That's why I hate when people like, I don't know. I wouldn't say hate, but like, I just don't like it when people make a judgment based off of that. Like, again, it's like judging a book by its cover, right?
100%.
It's just because people are going through experiences. Like, dude, you want me to be fucking, who is it? Mark Zuckerberg? You want me to be a fucking robot? Like, be emotionless?
Hell no.
Like,
it's not like that. Everybody. One, people like to hear interesting stories that they can relate to and stuff, and it's just like, that's what happened. I'm not gonna sit here in front and say, oh no, I was a perfect tourist that went here and then woke up at 8 a.m.
Dude, I
every
feel
day.
like somebody in the comments would be like, oh shit, I experienced that sort of similar story.
100%.
Yeah, someone's gonna relate to that and they'd be like, that's sick that this guy like did this shit,
Yeah. So I was just being completely transparent with the stuff that happened. Yeah. I mean, obviously I didn't include the females' names. I wouldn't want to disrespect anyone like that.
Course,
but yeah, that was just some fucked up stuff that happened regarding with females.
Dude, and hopefully we can make some more experiences too, and like, when we do more travels in the future. So yeah, all right guys, hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and we'll see you on the next one.